Hey, sports fans, what's going on? It's Sean with F What You Heard Sportscast, podcast slash YouTube channel. Glad to be back. It's week 9 in the NFL. We're here to talk about not last week, but this week. Got a couple topics we're going to get into. And as usual, my 2-minute rant at the end of today's show. So I appreciate all the views, all the likes. Please continue to share the videos, like the videos. Check me out at Judgmental Mind on Twitter. If you want to hit me up, follow me, critique me, criticize me, tell me what you think, tell me where I can get better, tell me where I'm doing well. I like to hear it, so appreciate it. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. So even though they lost with Kyle Allen, is it time to move on from Cam Newton? To me, that's the big question. Do we keep an injury-riddled Cam Newton, who has issues with his throwing, his accuracy, and again, injury prone? For whatever reason, he thinks that other dudes won't knock him around just because, he's like a 6'6", 250-pound quarterback. So linebackers are just as big as he are. D tackles are bigger. And depending on the safety, they could be as big, but they could still pack a wallop. So over the past couple years, he's had a tendency to just put himself in harm's way instead of making a smart decision, slide, get down, not try to take on a guy at the goal line or whatever the case may be, and have found himself injury riddled over the past couple of years. So that is the big question. A lot of people may say, hey, Kyle Allen is unproven. He hasn't won anything. He hasn't done anything. And we still believe in Cam Newton. He was an MVP. He took us to the Super Bowl. My retort to that is he's regressed beyond recognition of that MVP Cam Newton. Now, if he shows back up, and I'm guessing they're going to put him in this coming week, if he shows up over the next couple of weeks, since they didn't trade him at the trade deadline, if he shows up and he shows out like he's that Cam Newton of old, then I would reconsider my position, as far as moving on from Cam Newton. I probably said it 2 to 3 weeks ago when Cam Newton was originally hurt that, hey, it's time to move on. Cut bait, trade him, and it seems as though they didn't do it prior to the trade deadline. So they have to stay pat, stick and stay with what they have. To me, Kyle Allen has proven to be a serviceable quarterback over the last several games. He ran into a buzzsaw. Nobody's beat San Francisco. So if we're measuring quarterbacks and we're measuring other people's play, all the other 6 or 7 teams that have not beaten the San Francisco 49ers should be replaced as well, if that's what we're measuring Kyle Allen by, in his recent, woes as far as that's concerned. So to me, I think we should just pump our brakes, let him play again next week. I can't remember the opponent but let him play this particular week right here, week 9. If he stinks up the joint, then I would consider putting a 100% healthy Cam Newton in. I don't know if he's 100%. One more week, early or later, won't make a dramatic change in to me, the ultimate result of where the Carolina Panthers are going to go this season. They're not going to the Super Bowl. So we can just stop that right now. So it's not like Cam Newton comes back and, they're going to the Super Bowl automatically. So let's just, in my opinion, wait one more week. Kyle Allen stinks up the joint. Then we can say, okay. And in the long run, he's probably not your franchise quarterback either. But I would say trade Cam Newton to an organization that really, 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 really needs a quarterback. Like, perhaps that Chicago team, the Bears, maybe even Tampa Bay. Dare I say Atlanta? Dare I even say Detroit? So put him in one of those positions. I'd love to see him go to Chicago with that great defense. They have a few weapons. Cam Newton, in my opinion, would work great with that situation. He doesn't have to be a world beater. The defense will hold their own. And then with a 100% healthy Cam Newton, I can see them going places, potentially in the NFC. Trade him to an AFC team, the Browns, the Chargers. They need quarterbacks. Trade him to one of those teams in what seems to be right now the weaker of the two divisions, where you got 4 to 6 teams in the NFC that are cream of the crops. And then in the AFC, you have 2 to 3. So you may have a better chance if you're an AFC team with a floundering quarterback, getting somebody like Cam Newton, into the fold, and you may have a chance. And then again, to me, one other thing that I want to add to that, one other nugget, is you don't want to waste the talent of Christian McCaffrey. You do not want to waste this young man's, in his first couple of years, he's proven to be what we saw in college, a really good running back that, despite his stature, runs between the tackles. He does everything on the field. Blocks, runs in between the tackles, runs outside, catches the ball on screens, catches the ball in the flat, run wheel routes. He's all around back. He's a 4-down back. So do not waste Christian McCaffrey's years. Please don't. He's too good of a talent to do so. So that's my take. Get rid of Cam Newton, move him to another team, preferably somewhere in the AFC where he has a better chance of getting back to the Super Bowl potentially, and being that former MVP Cam that we've seen in the past. So, all right, on to this. Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, our state rival Eagles. Can they turn their season around? That is a very, very interesting question. I think that is where we are now, 4-4 team. They're teetering, showing flashes of, dare I say, greatness. Dare I say Super Bowl flashes, I think they can. I think with some key components, and I think they have 2 of the most key components that you need in order to stabilize your season, to stabilize your team, and potentially get back in the running. It's going to be tough. Again, they got 6 teams that are the cream of the crop, and then some ancillary teams that are floating right there on the bubble in the NFC. But the 2 main components that they have is the head coach and Doug Peterson, and then the quarterbacks and Carson Wentz. So if you don't have those 2 things, it's very difficult if you hit that slippery slope to right the ship. It's very, very difficult. And then to complement those pieces, they have good wide receivers. If they can get Deshaun back, Deshaun Jackson back and healthy, that allows him to have one more weapon in his arsenal, per se, to do damage and to get the job done on the field. They have a decent running game, several wide receivers, a really good tight end. And then the defense has had its ups and downs this year. So as long as they can get that one component back on the offense, Deshaun Jackson, which allows them to take the top off the defense, and he can just flat out fly. So they can take the top off the defense. They can't play, the shell and keep everything close. They'll have to respect his speed, which will allow other players to get open. And then if the defense can step up and do some things, I really think they have a chance to put themselves back into the playoff hunt. They can potentially win their division, which is very winnable, with the terrible Washington Redskins, the Giants, who are trying to figure out how to win, and the Cowgirls, who have shown shown everyone that they're very inconsistent when they're playing good teams. So we shall see that they're right there, nip and tuck with the Cowboys, or Cowgirls, excuse me. So it'll be very interesting to see whether they can turn their season around, win their division, and potentially get into the playoffs. That's very doable. But they have to go on a playoff run, and the playoff run starts this week. They have to win the next 4 to 5 games in order to put themselves in playoff contention. It's doable. They just have to focus, quit making mistakes in the critical moments, do not shoot themselves in the foot. Self-inflicted wounds will kill them in terms of drives and plays and things of that nature. So I'm predicting that the Philadelphia Eagles turn their season around this week and put themselves right in the hunt to win the NFC East. And Cowboys coming in second because they'll probably continue to spiral out of control, worrying about this Dak Prescott contract. They'll continue to unravel at the hinges. That little thread has just been tugging, and it's about to just totally unravel. But we'll see. We'll see if they can stop the bleeding, per se. All right. So let's talk about a couple of teams that are fringe teams, in my opinion, that have shown that they can do really, really well under the circumstances, play complementary football, offense, defense, special teams, overcome injuries, overcome personnel decisions and things of that nature. And so we want to talk about the Bills, the Texans, and the Colts. We all know what happened with Andrew Luck. Jacoby Brissett has done an admirable job stepping in. Is he an elite quarterback? No. The defense is stout. The defense is playing well. They have a really good offensive line. And he's doing what a lot of other quarterbacks in the past have done, i.e. Brad Johnson with Tampa Bay. He wasn't a world beater at Tampa Bay. He was just in the right place, the right time. Tony Dungy had left. John Gruden had come in, phenomenal defense, Warren Sapp, all those guys on the defense. They had a decent offense, game manager at quarterback. They put it all together and they won. Now, am I saying the Colts are going to win the Super Bowl? Probably not. But what I am saying is you have a really good quarterback in the next 3 to 5 years. Everything is going to fluctuate because 9 times out of 10, Tom Brady's not going to be around. And then it's going to be, a crapshoot as far as who's going to win the AFC. As soon as Tom Brady puts his helmet down and hangs up his cleats, it's going to be a crapshoot. So just hold on to Jacoby Brissett. Put some more playmakers around him on the offensive side. T.Y. Hilton's a great receiver. Get some more great receivers. Look at another running back. Look at another tight end. So you continue to put weapons around this guy. The head coach, Frank Wright, is doing a great job. He did a great job with Andrew Luck. He's doing a great job with Jacoby Brissett, former quarterback, so he understands coverages, how to play in the NFL, how to scheme guys open. So he's doing a very, very good job, and his coaching staff is doing a phenomenal job. So hold tight. Hold tight. I say it. Hold tight. Jacoby Brissett, potentially in the next 3 to 5 years, could eke out a Super Bowl appearance for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm not saying do not draft a quarterback. See what you can get. Trade value for other pieces. Continue to draft well. Maybe even look at a quarterback in this particular draft if you think he's the guy, the man to take over and is going to be potentially better than Jacoby Brissett. If you don't think so, do not draft a quarterback. There will be a wasted pick in the first round. You can wait a couple years, be serviceable, work on the other pieces, and potentially get someone uber talented like Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. So, Indianapolis Colts, listen to me. Look at the guys who are coming out in the draft as far as quarterback is concerned. If they're the franchise guy that is uber talented, much more so than Jacoby Brissett, pull the trigger. If not, wait on Trevor Lawrence. Boom. Better listen, Colts and Colts fans. Get in those guys' ears. The Texans. They have, unfortunately, it's been a revolving door at offensive line. For the past several years, Deshaun Watson has been running for his life. They finally invested some money in Laramie Tunsil, and I believe he came up a little lame this past week. And they shifted the line again, moved the right tackle to left, brought in another guy off the bench, put him at right tackle. So my only hope for this fringe team in the Houston Texans is to draft on the offensive line. J.J. Watt ripped his pectoral muscle, so that's over the past 3 to 4 years, he's been injured several of those years. Phenomenal guy, awesome person, done a ton of phenomenal community work there in Houston, and for Katrina, and basically everywhere around the world. So I can't speak highly enough of his off the field contributions to the world. I don't know him personally. I wish I did. He seems to be a phenomenal guy. His motor runs high when he is on the field. Unfortunately, it hurt my heart to see him suffer this injury and be gone for the season. It seemed as though they were, again, that fringe team that could shock some people. Deshaun Watson played well against the Patriots last year, so I can see them being a wild card team, maybe winning a wild card game and potentially going to Foxborough and maybe even upsetting them. But with J.J. Watt gone, they traded Clowney earlier in the season, so their defense is in my opinion just shot. So, but in the next 3 to 5 years, I would hope to see J.J. Watt back to form, 100% healthy, and play 3 to 5 years or however long his heart desires, and then him just hang it up. But 3 to 5 years, look at getting another outside rusher or two. Brian Cushing is no longer there. Quentin Merciless is doing a phenomenal job. He's a slobber knocker. He'll knock the brakes off of you. So another linebacker, and then look at the back end, safety and cornerback. So to me, unless you have all three levels, you got to have, to me, at least one guy at all three levels of the defense in order to play well. You can, and to me, definitely really, really good pass rusher and cornerback. You can have a decent safety, but those two things, if you have a good safety, then you're going to do a really good job at stopping people in the NFL. Case in point, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't have a good safety or cornerbacks. So we're constantly getting torched, constantly getting, just ragdolled. We're just constantly getting, the best word I can say is torched all the time. You don't see the guys in the Jets because they got a really good safety in Jamal Adams. So when we had really good defensive line, linebacker, safety, and DB play, we were in the Super Bowl, or right there on the cusp of being in the Super Bowl. So Houston Texans, look at getting J.J. Watt, a complimentary guy to help him out. Look at getting another linebacker, and look at getting a really good cornerback or safety in the next few drafts. Also, get yourself a good lineman to help Deshaun Watson out, and I think they'll be right there. Again, you don't have to be a top flight, top of the mountain quarterback to get to and win a Super Bowl. The list is very long of quarterbacks who are very decent, who have only won one Super Bowl. Even really great quarterbacks who have only won one Super Bowl. People call Aaron Rodgers the GOAT, but he's only won one Super Bowl. The same amount as Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer, and others. Boom. All right, this last team that we want to talk about in this quick little segment is going to be the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are, after Rex Ryan, have seemed to be moved on pretty nice. They were kind of floundering a little bit, but as I said before in other shows, it takes a coach 3 to 5 years to implement his philosophy, to get with the general manager and draft the kind of guys that he wants to draft. If he's a defensive-minded coach, then those are the types of guys he drafts because that's his forte. So it takes him 3 to 5 years to put his thumbprint on that side of the ball. It seems to be the coach of the Bills, McDermott, has 3 to 5 years. I think he's in year 3, and they're kind of rounding the bend. They're, to me, another fringe team in the AFC that has the capability in the next 3 to 5 years to steal a Super Bowl. When Tom Brady goes away, these fringe quarterbacks that are not the cream of the crop, i.e. Breeze, Brady, quote unquote Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's the cream of the crop, but other people are saying he's the cream of the crop. So if their name is not in the top 10 as far as the talented, accuracy, and all those things, the next 3 to 5 years, AFC quarterbacks, listen to me, this will be the best time that you will ever have to win a Super Bowl. Kansas City is still susceptible with their sorry defense, so they're not world beaters. And everybody else, there's only 2 to 3 teams that are quote unquote at the top of the heap. Patriots. Next, you may say Kansas City. Third, you may say Baltimore. But Lamar and that offense, that quirky offense, is still yet to be seen. The Steelers, when they have Ben Roethlisberger, number 4. But who knows how his health is going to hold up and where he's going to be in the next couple of years. He may hang his cleats up as well. So, if you're one of those 3 teams and 3 quarterbacks that I just named, Watson, Allen, and who's the third guy? Watson, Allen, and Jacoby Brissett. You guys are in great shape over the next 3 years. Your organizations should be looking to steal a Super Bowl in the next 3 to 5 years. It can be done. Once Brady hangs them up, it will be the best opportunity for you to steal. If you got to put on a mask to steal it, however, smoke and mirrors, this will be the best opportunity to steal a Super Bowl trophy. You hear me, Bills? You hear me, Texans? Do you hear me, Indianapolis Colts? Time to get to work so you can steal that championship. All right. Let's move to this. The Vegas Raiders, or I don't know what you're calling them. The Raiders. They're not the Oakland Raiders. They're the Vegas Raiders. They haven't moved. The Raiders. The silver and black. Raider Nation. Teetering on greatness. You see some flashes. They can't get a pass rush. Why'd you trade Khalil Mack? You do some good things. You have what you say is a franchise quarterback. But I haven't heard John Gruden say that. You have some weapons. You could have more weapons in your stockpile. You got rid of Cooper and you got rid of Khalil Mack. 2 great pieces that you could have used this season. But maybe you're in the same mindset that I am, that I can't beat Tom Brady now. 3 to 5 years will be the best time and the best chance that I will have. So I'm going to mortgage the present for the future. So I get what, if John Gruden and the general manager are in that thought process, I'm going to mortgage my present for my future. Great. But at the same time, Khalil Mack's not an old man either. Amari Cooper's not an old man. So it's a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword. It's going to be interesting to see what John Gruden, he's there for 10 years, $100 million. It's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 8 years. I think this is another wash year. Who's to say he doesn't trade Carr as well? Because if Tom Brady plays another year, you won't win that year either. So he could potentially say in the offseason, we're going to move off a Carr, trade Carr, get another first round draft pick, maybe even a second out of that particular deal. To me, that would be the move. And then you would be in the lottery like the Colts could potentially be for Trevor Lawrence. So if I was John Gruden, that's what I would do. I would continue to play Carr, play as well as we can, entertain trade offers at the end of the year, and I would get a 1 or 2 pick. I would look at signing somebody else that's released, play with that guy on a 1-year deal, and then by that time, Trevor Lawrence will be ready to come out. So this year is his sophomore year. Next year will be his junior year, so play with that 1-year contract guy next year. Boom. Look at getting him in the first round in 2021 or 22, I believe. So that's what I would do if I was the Raiders. They came out, beat 2 really good teams, and then now they're on a 2-game losing streak. To me, I think they're an 8-8 team, maybe a 9-7 team overall, and potentially where everybody else is when everything shakes out at the end of the year, they could possibly be a wild card team, but I highly, highly doubt it. So, but again, I would play Carr this year, see what happens, see how he continues to progress or play or not play well. And then I would trade him, get some draft picks, work that. Again, 3 to 5 year plan with new coaches. He needs to bring in the running back for them. Jacobs out of Alabama is a phenomenal guy, runs like, he's running through a brick wall. Guy is built. So you need to complement him with a guy. Now, you may think Carr's the guy. I don't know. I'm a Raiders fan. You tell me whether Carr is the guy or whether you subscribe to my thought process is trade him at the end of the year, get another guy on a 1-year deal, like Mike Ryan or somebody that's a veteran quarterback that has been released. You put him on a 1-year deal, keep him as the backup. Maybe sign him to a 3-year backup deal once you draft Trevor Lawrence. I'm wearing silver and black today. If I was the general manager and Mike Mayock, along with John Gruden, that's where my head would be. That's where my thought process, because they didn't draft Carr, so they're not really in love with the guy. So they may like him as a person, like what he can do on the field per se, but that is not his guy. So Raider fans, don't be shocked if that happens. And if it does, you heard it here first. Carr will be traded, sign a guy, and they draft Trevor Lawrence. Boom. Fire, knowledge, every day, on every podcast. Just listen up. Just open your ears. Just open your ears. All right. It's about time in the show for my 2-minute rant. I love this part of the show. I just get to go off on whatever topic, whatever team, whatever quarterback, whatever I see fit. I just go off on people, good and bad. So my 2-minute rant, even though rants are quote unquote negative, sometimes I go on positive rants. So what we have in store for today is Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Is he the answer? Mr. 84 million, 92 million guaranteed, Mr. Moneybags. Is he the answer? You were a playoff team without him. Is he the answer? Maybe you could have waited one more year, keep the same guy you had who took you to the playoffs, and look to steal someone in the trade or release after this year. Someone like Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, one of those guys. Because I guarantee you, teams are going to be moving off of those guys like wildfire, in my opinion, at the end of the season. If they don't, they are delusional. So teams will be moving off of veteran quarterbacks like white on rice. So they could have stayed with, I think he was in Washington now. They could have stayed with him. But no, had to get Kirk Cousins. Minnesota Viking fans, I don't know if you're happy. I wouldn't be happy if he came to the Steelers and we paid him $84 million guaranteed, and he's playing subpar in the biggest games. Primetime games, I don't think he's ever won a primetime game. On a 1 o'clock game, he's like lights out. So the schedule is going to get harder and harder in the next couple of weeks. They have a really nice defense. Until he wins the big game, to me, the jury is going to still be out on Kirk Cousins. Until he shows, and like he got to show me something. But until he shows the masses, the Minnesota Vikings organization and fans, that he can win on the big stage, $84 million guaranteed is a lot to give away on a question mark. On a question mark. It's not a guarantee. Yeah, the money's guaranteed. But you pay somebody $84 million guaranteed. I need him to be the bomb. I need him to be stellar. I need him to be lights out. I need him to be, he needs to bring one, if not two, championships for that money, in my opinion, to be justified. So good on him to get it. Hey, I'm going to get all the money that I feel as though I'm worth in a deal. So I'm not like, saying he's a bad guy for getting his money. Get the money. Somebody going to pay me $84 million. I can get the money. I'm getting the money. So kudos to him for getting the money. Vikings, to me, you could have done better, or waited, or tied the money up in incentives, per se, and then, performance-based. That's how you get your money.